Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss the return of stupid evil again, as the government managed to mess up their own cruel asylum policies as two cruise ships, paid for with our taxes, to house asylum seekers, are turned back because they had nowhere to dock. Embarrassing at the best of times. And then you remember, we're an island. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel. So I mention this sort of thing now and then. In many ways, if you're going to have an evil government, probably better that it is stupid as opposed to calculating. That way, at least many of their schemes will not come to fruition. On the flip side, however, it's embarrassing to be ruled by stupid evil in a democracy. It reflects very poorly on the wisdom of the nation. And in this latest travesty of planning, the government have been shelling out for barges and cruise ships to house asylum seekers offshore. It's becoming more difficult to house asylum seekers in accommodation on land, partly because the press and the likes of Nigel Farage are whipping up the NIMBY xenophobes, but also because the backlog has stretched beyond reason as a result of the government deciding to massively scale back on the processing of claims a few years ago. You know, when the whole problem started, the problem we didn't used to have. And this is all deliberate to create a distraction. They slow down the processing of claims so that the backlog grows. They struggle for accommodation so the cost goes up. And then they point to the costly problem and come up with a vacuous solution like shipping a small number to Rwanda for extortionate fees, safe in the knowledge that the courts are likely to block it, so no one will ever see just how ridiculous their solution is. We complain about the inhumanity and the Tories just say, well, it's easy to criticise, isn't it? But you don't have any better ideas, do you? Go on then, do you? To which we can say, of course we bloody do. Set up a processing centre in the north of France, establish safe routes from trouble spots and process the bloody claims. But the media don't present those arguments. It's funny how they only insist on a counter-argument for the sake of balance when they have experts on and reporting about something. Boneheads get a completely free run with no counter at all. But at that point, the cunning evil stops. Because, especially with Suella Braverman managing the Home Office, the actual implementation is incredibly incompetent. Yesterday, Sky News reported that two huge cruise ships, which were to house 1,000 asylum seekers, which I'm at least happy to say Sky News called asylum seekers and not illegal immigrants, but these cruise ships ran into a spot of bother. One of the ships was supposed to be docked near Liverpool. Now, the city had already told those to bog off. The other was supposed to go off to Edinburgh. However, it seems that when they arrived, dear old Blighty, they couldn't find anywhere to dock. So they went back to their owners. You what? So the UK government, which I remind you presides over 1 and a bit islands, lots of coastline, ordered these two cruise ships and didn't think to make sure there was somewhere for them to dock on an island. I know you can't just aim them at Blackpool and stop when it hits the beach, but how do the government of 1 and a bit islands not actually have docking arranged when they ordered the ships and presumably knew when they would be arriving? I try to imagine what it must be like for the captains of these vessels. What do you mean there's nowhere for us to dock? You're an island. You were expecting us. They can't do evil right, can they? And how much is this costing us? That's the question, isn't it? How much does this cost us? Sadly, Sky News said that they couldn't find out, so I imagine it's quite a bit. I should think the government will be hiding the figure for Braverman's latest cock-up for as long as they can. I do hope someone asks about this in PMQs. At the time this has been published, PMQs will be ongoing. You know, really someone should ask. Mr. Speaker, yesterday it was reported that two cruise ships ordered by the government and paid for by our taxes arrived in Britain but then returned home because there was nowhere to dock. Could the Prime Minister explain how much this latest bit of incompetence cost the British taxpayer and also why the government of an island nation couldn't find anywhere for two ships that it had ordered to dock? He won't answer, of course, but somebody should ask. I don't expect Starmer to ask. I suppose he might ask it for the last one, but I don't expect him to. It's by-elections tomorrow and he will want to hammer wedge issues for the constituencies Labour are fighting, and neither of those constituencies are dock towns. But someone from the backbenchers must ask, surely. I also wonder how it went down in Cabinet. Could you imagine? There'd have been a Cabinet meeting this morning. Rishi Sunak asks Suella Braverman, why these cruise ships had to be turned away. Well, Prime Minister, you said you wanted us to stop the boats. Not those boats, you idiot. Stupid evil. Always with the stupid evil. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button. If you'd like to support the channel further, the join button for memberships. And until next time, I'll see you later.